I'm Maren Hurd, and I'm here with Carly, and she is a panelist during the South by Southwest Interactive Conference. And her panel is titled, Are Women Taken More Seriously on the Web? And she'll be joined by 3 other women in her panel. Hello, Carly. Thank you for meeting me. We're here at Cafe Moon Day in Austin. So you write for Rare Austin, The Austinist, and other media sites and publications. Will you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I was a student journalist when I was an undergraduate years ago, and I just never stopped freelancing. And so when I moved to Austin for graduate school, I sent out to different places that I thought I might want to contribute to, and I've really kind of, over the years, and especially just how the industry's moving, focused more and more on kind of web-based media and a lot of blogging. I've blogged for a bunch of different places, written film reviews, all kinds of things.
That's exciting. How long have you been doing that?
I'd say about 6 years.
Okay, that's neat. And you are also a doctoral candidate in American Studies at UT. What are your goals within the next 6 months?
Well, hopefully in the next 6 months I can get an academic article out. That'd be nice. A book project I worked on is coming out in October on barbecue. I worked with the Southern Foodways Alliance. I do a lot of oral history work on the Texas leg of the Southern Barbecue Trail, and so we actually have a book coming out called Republic of Barbecue.
Oh, neat.
That's about barbecue specifically in the Central Texas region.
That's really neat. I'm going to have to get that. What is it you don't like about the new media industry and technology industry?
It's hard to characterize an entire industry. I mean, I think there's certainly places where things could be growing faster, and I think there's there are things I see that are happening that are great. I'm really interested in the work that nonprofits are doing and that businesses are doing with nonprofits. So organizations like Girl Start in Austin, there's several programs just in Austin, and I know there's many more nationally that really work with youth and children to kind of help build media literacy skills. And I think media literacy doesn't just mean the ability it's not just reading, it's being able to produce, and it's really great to see those kinds of things happening. I think we're seeing more and more tools where people would, my mother's finally really good with her email, and I think at the point that my mother is good with her email, we've kind of reached ubiquity. And so I think we're reaching a point where the industry's having to move more with kind of like everyday consumers, which I think it's interesting. We'll have to see what happens.
What is a social networking tool that you utilize the most, like on a day-to-day basis?
Actually, lately I actually use Facebook the most, which I didn't anticipate. I went to one of the universities that was in the pilot group for Facebook when they first started testing it. And so I've had a Facebook account for a really long time, and I actually never, I keep my profile page updated, but I never used it very much. But then I have a Twitter account that I use much more, but Twitter will feed your status updates to Facebook, and then because of that, because I have such a larger network of people on Facebook, those status updates have become kind of how now I use Facebook all the time because people are commenting and talking with me via those status updates, which, is kind of a weird collapse, I guess.
And what is maybe like a major influence in this field that, who has influenced you the most? Or a company or a person?
The birds are getting aggressive. I would say probably the person, and it's someone who's a scholar, but who I really respect as kind of someone that's very media aware, is Henry Jenkins, who was one of the keynotes, I believe last year at South by Southwest. He just does, I think, very sharp work on, fandom, on how convergence of media, all kinds of things, and I really like what he does. His last book, or maybe he might have another one out by now, but anyway, Convergence Culture, which came out, I believe, in 2007, he was really shooting for a popular audience, and he didn't quite get there, so he ended up publishing with NYU Press. But it's nice to read scholarship that's really sharp and insightful, but is also very readable. And so even though he didn't quite get where it would come out through a popular press, it's a very readable book. And so, I like seeing people that do scholarship, and he's a very engaged person. He has a blog he updates really regularly, and so he's probably someone whose work I follow most directly.
Okay, that's cool. And what are some topics that you've blogged about? I know that you're really, that's one of the main things you do too, but on a personal level or separate from that, what are some main topics that you discuss?
Sure. Blogging is such an interesting thing because I have a personal account that I've had for years, I think like 8 years at this point, and that I don't, that's not public ever, and so it's funny to see like the discrepancy between that and what I, excuse me, and what I write about more publicly. And so there it's things it's very like day-to-day kind of, banalities. But then when I'm actually writing for other people, I used to do a lot of film reviews for different places. I have written a lot, local events or something I ended up posting about a lot. Lately I've been writing about bars. I mean, it really just depends on kind of what
you're interested in at the
well,
moment.
what I'm interested in, but also what they want. I mean, when you freelance, you're always hired guns, and so, it's usually things I'm interested in. But I've definitely gone to things where I'm like, I don't know, I'm sure it's fine, and you show up and it, usually it is. But I've interviewed all kinds of people through that. I've met all kinds of interesting people, so I usually will just roll with it.
No, that's neat. What website, other than one of your own or one that you contribute to, would you suggest for someone trying to catch new trends in this industry?
Well, if you're interested more in the academic side of things, I love the Resource Center for Cyberculture Studies. They publish book reviews mainly every month, and so they catch almost all the new media type scholarship that comes out. Things on cyberculture, which I think we might be moving past as a term, but they've been going strong for quite a while. But gaming, social networking, really interesting books on like how race plays out on the internet. Research methodologies for how you might, look at those things critically, and so that's really good. I also follow Boing Boing like I think almost everyone does, and I'm not as diligent about reading up on it as I might be. But I always think, especially gadget, like the gadget part. I think if you're, because we're looking for tools, right? Most people, I think, if you're not working in industry, you're looking for tools that you can use for your regular stuff or for the work you're already doing, and I think gadget sites are great for that.
Just another way to multitask.
Right.
What is a panel that you're looking forward to at South by Southwest?
Oh gosh, it's funny. I can't think of the panel names off the top of my head. I knew Bruce Pennycook, who's a faculty member at the University of Texas in music. He's on a panel about kind of some experimental interfaces that they're working on. I'm really interested to see about that. It's not my field, but I'm always interested in kind of those creative technologies and things like that. There's definitely some people coming who I'm really interested to see, particularly people I knew when I was in Houston. Some folks that are involved with Caroline Collective are coming into town. A couple of them are on panels. So, I follow people and then incidentally know what panels they're on.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Oh gosh, and I think a couple of folks affiliated with Feministing are on a panel also, and so that should be good. Yeah.
Can you give me a brief rundown about the panel that you'll be taking part in?
Sure. We had our kind of like pre-meeting recently, but we have 4 women who all kind of are affiliated with digital media work in different ways. I'm kind of the token academic, but Laura Roeder, who organized, works and does a lot of kinds of online branding and marketing things for small businesses and for individuals. She works with Bria Grant, who was on Heroes for a while and who also went to graduate school with me weirdly. So I'm glad she's doing well. She's a lovely person. But yeah, and so she's there. Karen Chu, who does a lot of writing about gaming and things like that. And then Lagitza, whose last name I cannot pronounce at all. But people working on things from different ways. And I think Lagitza does consulting right now. But we all have these kinds of different experiences. Some of them good, some of them bad. And it was really interesting in that pre-conversation. I think the things that we were most concerned about weren't necessarily the things that we had thought were going to be the most resonant as we started the conversation. And I think as much as all of us really want to say, like, yes, it's better now, we always have to temper that with, like, where it's not getting better fast enough or where things just aren't working. And, sometimes things get better for women by getting worse for everyone else, and I don't know that that's necessarily a step forward for anyone.
No, that's good, though. Well, thank you again, Carly. And you can catch Carly's panel, Are Women Taken More Seriously, on the web, Monday, March 16th at 11:30 a.m. in Room C.